Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The evening sky bleeds hues of purple and orange as I pull into our driveway. The lights in the house are off, as they often are these days. Melissa is probably out with friends, or so she claims. The engine of my car purrs into silence, and I step out, feeling the cool breeze that carries the scent of freshly cut grass. It used to be comforting, this neighborhood with its quiet streets and picket fences, but lately, it feels more like a painted facade. I unlock the front door and step inside, greeted by the soft hum of the refrigerator from the kitchen. There's a note on the counter in Melissa's handwriting, "Out with Sarah. Dinner in the fridge." I toss the note aside and head for the stairs, the familiar creak of the third step echoing in the empty hallway. In our bedroom, the air feels different, heavier. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's a lingering scent, something floral and unfamiliar. I dismiss it as just another sign of Melissa's attempts to cover up whatever secrets she's keeping. The thought of confronting her crosses my mind, but I brush it away. Not tonight. I collapse onto the bed, my mind replaying the headlines from the morning news. Man stabbed in bed, lover on the run. It's the third such incident in a month, all within a 10-mile radius of our neighborhood. I try to shake off the unease as I reach for the nightstand to plug in my phone. That's when I see it, the glint of metal catches my eye. A knife, tucked away between a pile of books and a half-empty bottle of melatonin. It's sleek, with a handle that fits snugly in my hand, and it's sharp, sharper than any kitchen knife we own. My pulse quickens as I inspect it, wondering why Melissa would have something like this by her bedside. She's never been one for self-defense, she doesn't even like horror movies. I place the knife back where I found it, a cold sweat breaking across my forehead. Maybe I am overreacting, but the unease gnaws at me, growing with each passing second. I need a break, some distance to clear my head. The cottage upstate calls to me like a sanctuary, offering solitude and peace. I dial Melissa's number, intending to tell her about my sudden urge for a solo vacation. The call rings out, going to voicemail. "Hey, it's me. I've decided to head to the cottage for a week. Need some time to think. Call me when you get this." I pack a bag hastily, grabbing essentials and stuffing them into a duffel. The knife lingers in my thoughts, a silent specter whispering doubts I can't quite shake. I leave a note on the fridge, mirroring hers, "Gone to the cottage. Be back in a week." The drive is long but calming. Trees blur past as the city gives way to winding country roads. I roll down the windows, letting the fresh air wash over me, hoping it will cleanse my mind of paranoia. Melissa's face flashes in my mind, her smile, the way her eyes dart away when she's hiding something. How long has it been since we really talked? The cottage is just as I remember it, quaint and welcoming, nestled among towering pines and overlooking a serene lake. I unload my bag, letting the familiar creaks of the wooden floorboards reassure me as I settle in. The first night passes uneventfully. I wake up to birds chirping and the sun streaming through the curtains. I spend the morning fishing by the lake, allowing the rhythmic lapping of water to soothe my thoughts. By afternoon, I'm starting to feel the tension ease from my shoulders. Maybe this break was exactly what I needed. But then the call comes. My phone buzzes, startling me from a light nap. It's Mark, an acquaintance from back home, his voice hurried and tinged with disbelief. "Hey, you need to sit down for this," he says. "What's going on?" I ask, sitting up straight, my heart picking up its pace. "It's Melissa. She's been arrested." I stand abruptly, the room spinning slightly. "What do you mean, arrested?" "They're saying she's involved in those murders," Mark continues, his words hitting me like a punch to the gut. "The ones where the men were stabbed. They're calling her some kind of Black Widow." My mind races, Images of Melissa and that damn knife swirling together. It can't be true. Melissa is many things, secretive, distant, but a killer. There must be a mistake, I say, my voice shaking. I don't know, man. They have evidence, apparently. Her fingerprints, witnesses. It doesn't look good. I sit down, my legs suddenly weak. This can't be happening. I think of the knife again, its presence in our home, and the way Melissa has been acting lately. Could it really be possible? The rest of the day passes in a blur. I try to call Melissa's phone, but it goes straight to voicemail. News sites start flashing her picture, labeling her as the main suspect in a string of murders. Each article seems to confirm what I'm desperately hoping is a mistake. That evening, I receive a text from her, "I'm sorry." It's cryptic, lacking any explanation or denial. I stare at the message, willing it to make sense, but it only deepens the knot in my stomach. The next morning, I pack my things and head back home, the drive feeling much longer this time. When I pull into our driveway, the house looks different, smaller, like it's caving in under the weight of secrets and lies. Inside, everything is as I left it. I find myself standing in our bedroom again, drawn to the nightstand. The knife is still there, a silent accusation. I pick it up, feeling its weight, and suddenly, it feels like everything I thought I knew about Melissa is unraveling. I need to know the truth. I need to face whatever this is, no matter how terrifying it might be. As I turn the knife over in my hand, I realize that whatever Melissa has done, there's no turning back now. The storm has arrived, and I'm caught in the middle of it. The house feels suffocating as I sit in the living room, staring blankly at the walls. Melissa's arrest has turned everything I knew upside down. Her face is all over the news, labeled as the Black Widow, a nickname that chills me to the bone. The media frenzy is relentless, painting a picture of a woman I barely recognize. I hear the doorbell ring and flinch at the sound, realizing that I'm jumpier than I thought. Through the peephole, I see Mark standing on the porch. He's holding a newspaper, his expression grim. "Hey, man," he says as I open the door. "I thought you could use some company." "Thanks," I reply, stepping aside to let him in. Mark has always been the type of friend who shows up when you need him, even if he doesn't know what to say. He's tall and lanky, with sandy hair and a perpetually worried look that makes him seem older than he is. "Crazy stuff, huh?" Mark says, glancing around the room as if expecting to find clues scattered about. "Yeah," I mutter, my voice barely above a whisper. I still can't believe it. Mark sits on the couch, setting the newspaper on the coffee table. The headline screams at us, "Black Widow strikes again, suburban nightmare." "Have you talked to her?" he asks. "No, just that text." I keep trying to call, but it's always voicemail. Mark nods, understanding. He leans back, running a hand through his hair. "Do you think she really did it?" The question hangs in the air, heavy with implications. I want to say no, to defend the woman I've shared my life with, but the doubt is like a thorn I can't shake. "I don't know," I finally admit. "But the knife, her behavior. It's hard to ignore." Mark leans forward, elbows on his knees, as if contemplating something deep. "You think she's been cheating on you?" The question stings, though it's one I've asked myself countless times in the quiet of the night. Melissa's late-night outings, the secrets, the distance that's grown between us, it all points to something more than simple restlessness. "I don't want to believe it," I say, my voice cracking. "But maybe. I mean, it would explain a lot, right?" Mark nods, and there's a moment of silence where we both just sit, lost in thought. "I've been thinking," Mark says, breaking the quiet. "Maybe we should talk to some of her friends. They might know something, or at least give us a different perspective." It's a good idea, and I'm grateful for his willingness to help. I nod, feeling a sense of purpose in the chaos. Yeah, okay. Who do you think we should start with? There's Sarah, Mark suggests. Melissa's always hanging out with her, right? I hesitate, remembering the note Melissa left. Out with Sarah. It's as good a place to start as any. We decide to visit Sarah that afternoon. Her house is only a few blocks away, a cozy bungalow with a bright red door and flower boxes under the windows. As we walk up the path, I feel a knot of anxiety tighten in my stomach. I knock, and after a few moments, the door swings open. Sarah stands there, looking as put together as ever, with her hair pulled back and a wary expression on her face. Hey, guys, she says, trying to muster a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. What's up? Can we come in? I ask. We need to talk about Melissa. She steps aside, letting us in. Her living room is immaculate, filled with tasteful decor and the faint scent of vanilla candles. We sit on the couch, and Sarah perches on the armchair opposite us. I heard the news, she says, folding her hands in her lap. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it is, I reply, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on me. We were hoping you might know something. Anything that could help make sense of this. Sarah hesitates, glancing between Mark and me. There's a flicker of something in her eyes, a hesitation that makes me lean forward. Please, Sarah, I urge. I just want to understand. She sighs, her shoulders slumping slightly. Look, I don't know much, but Melissa has been different lately. Distant, secretive. I nod, feeling a pang of familiarity at her words. Did she ever mention anyone? Someone she was seeing? Sarah bites her lip, the silence stretching out as she considers her response. She didn't mention anyone specific, but there were rumors. People talk, you know. They said she was seeing someone on the side. Mark and I exchange a glance, the pieces of the puzzle clicking together with unsettling clarity. Do you know who? Mark asks. No, just whispers. I didn't want to believe it, honestly. I thought it was just gossip. The room feels heavy with the weight of what she's saying, and I realize that the truth is far more tangled than I ever imagined. Do you think she's capable of? I can't finish the sentence, but the implication hangs in the air. Sarah shakes her head, her expression conflicted. I don't know, honestly. She's always been a bit of a mystery, even to me. But this, it doesn't seem like her. We talk for a while longer, but Sarah doesn't have much else to offer. Her uncertainty only deepens my own, leaving me with more questions than answers. As we leave, Sarah stands at the door, watching us go with an expression that seems a mix of worry and sympathy. Let me know if you find anything, she calls after us. Mark and I walk back in silence, the gravity of the situation settling over us like a shroud. I feel as though I'm trapped in a nightmare, one where every step I take only leads me further into the dark. Maybe we should talk to the police, Mark suggests as we near my house. I nod, knowing he's right. If there's any chance of getting to the bottom of this, we need to see what they know. Inside, I pick up the phone and dial the local precinct, my hands shaking slightly. After a few rings, a gruff voice answers. Detective Allen speaking. Hi, this is Daniel Fletcher. I'm calling about my wife, Melissa. There's a pause on the other end, followed by a sigh. Mr. Fletcher, we've been expecting your call. Can you come down to the station? We have some questions for you. Yeah, I'll be there soon, I reply, hanging up. Mark looks at me, a mixture of concern and determination in his eyes. Ready for this? No, I admit, but we have to do it. The drive to the police station feels surreal, like I'm watching someone else's life unfold from a distance. We arrive to find the building bustling with activity, officers moving with a sense of urgency that mirrors my own inner turmoil. Detective Allen is waiting for us, a middle-aged man with a tired face and a no-nonsense demeanor. He leads us to a small interrogation room, offering us seats across from him. "Mr. Fletcher, thank you for coming in," he says, his voice steady and professional. "We're hoping you can help us with our investigation." "I'll do whatever I can," I reply, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on me. "We're still piecing things together, but we believe your wife may be connected to a series of incidents involving local men. You might have heard about them on the news." I nod, the words sinking in with a cold finality. "We have evidence that places her at the scenes," Detective Allen continues, his gaze unwavering. "We're also looking into her potential accomplices." "Accomplices?" Mark interjects, surprise coloring his voice. "Yes. We believe she may not have acted alone." The revelation hits me like a sledgehammer. I had assumed Melissa was acting on her own, but this complicates things even further. "Do you have any idea who might be involved?" Allen asks, his eyes fixed on me. I shake my head, feeling a sense of helplessness wash over me. "No, I don't. I didn't even know about any of this until yesterday." The detective nods, making a note in his file. "We'd like to keep you informed as the investigation progresses. If you think of anything, no matter how small, let us know." "Of course," I reply, feeling the enormity of the situation pressing down on me like a physical weight. As we leave the station, Mark turns to me, his expression one of determination mixed with fear. "We'll figure this out," he says, his voice firm. I nod, though inside I feel as though I'm teetering on the edge of a precipice, with no idea what lies beyond. Back at home, I collapse onto the couch, exhaustion pulling at me. The events of the past few days swirl in my mind, a maelstrom of doubt and fear. I can't shake the feeling that something is lurking just out of sight, a truth that threatens to upend everything I thought I knew. The phone buzzes on the table, startling me. It's a text from an unknown number. "I know the truth about Melissa. Meet me at the old pier tonight. Alone." I stare at the message, a chill creeping down my spine. I glance at Mark, who looks equally concerned. "What do you think?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Mark hesitates, then nods. "We have to go. It might be the only chance to get some answers." I nod, feeling the weight of the decision settle over me. Whatever happens tonight, it could be the key to unraveling the tangled web that has ensnared my life. As the sun begins to set, painting the sky in hues of red and orange, I know that the answers I seek are closer than ever, but the path ahead is fraught with danger. With a determined resolve, I prepare to face whatever truths the night will bring, knowing that the journey is just beginning. The air is thick with tension as I stand at the edge of the pier, staring into the dark waters below. The sun has dipped below the horizon, leaving the world cloaked in a murky twilight. Streetlights cast an eerie glow over the scene, reflecting off the surface of the lake like ghostly lanterns. Mark is by my side, his presence a comforting anchor in the growing storm of uncertainty. We agreed he'd come with me despite the message's insistence on solitude. I can't shake the feeling that this meeting will be pivotal, a turning point in the chaos that has engulfed my life. "Do you think this is safe?" Mark asks, breaking the silence. His voice is low, cautious. I shrug, keeping my eyes trained on the path ahead. "Probably not, but it's our only lead. We need answers." The pier is abandoned, save for the occasional rustle of wine through the trees and the gentle lapping of water against the shore. It's the kind of place where secrets thrive, hidden away from the prying eyes of the world. A figure emerges from the shadows at the far end of the pier. The silhouette is indistinct, shrouded in darkness, but I can make out the outline of a person, a man, by the looks of it. My heart skips a beat, a mixture of fear and anticipation coursing through me. Stay behind me, I whisper to Mark as we approach the stranger. The man steps forward, into the light cast by a nearby lamppost. He's older, perhaps in his 50s, with salt and pepper hair and a face etched with lines that speak of a hard life. His eyes are sharp, scanning us with a mixture of wariness and resolve. "Daniel Fletcher?" he asks, his voice gravelly and measured. "Yes, that's me," I reply, trying to keep my voice steady despite the nervous energy buzzing beneath my skin. "Who are you?" "My name's Victor. Victor Alton. I used to know your wife." The revelation hits me like a slap, the air knocked from my lungs. There's something about the way he says it, a hint of familiarity, of shared history, that makes my skin crawl. "What do you mean, used to?" I ask, struggling to keep my composure. Victor shifts his weight, glancing around as if ensuring we are truly alone. "We were involved once. A long time ago. Before all of this." I exchange a glance with Mark, who nods encouragingly. "Go on," I urge. "Melissa and I were together for a while," Victor explains, his gaze steady but distant. "She was different back then. Ambitious, driven. But something changed in her. I don't know what, but it was like a switch flipped. She started seeing other men, getting involved in things I didn't understand. The pieces start to fall into place, a picture emerging from the fog of uncertainty." "What kind of things?" I press, needing to know more. Victor hesitates, clearly wrestling with the decision to reveal whatever he knows. Finally, he exhales sharply, as if coming to a decision. "There were rumors," he says, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Rumors about her being involved with some dangerous people. People who have a lot of power and aren't afraid to use it." The words hang in the air, heavy with implication. I try to process what he's saying, but the scope of it all feels overwhelming. "Do you think she had anything to do with those murders?" Mark asks, voicing the question that has been gnawing at me since the beginning. Victor's eyes darken, a shadow passing over his features. "I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't put it past her. Melissa was always good at hiding her true self, at wearing a mask to keep people from seeing what she really was." A chill runs down my spine, the realization settling in that I might have never truly known the woman I married. The Melissa I fell in love with, the woman I built a life with, could be a complete fabrication, a facade hiding something far more sinister. "Why are you telling us this now?" I ask, my voice tinged with desperation. "Why come forward after all this time?" Victor meets my gaze, his expression a mixture of guilt and determination. "Because I think she might be in deeper than she realizes. And because I couldn't live with myself if I didn't at least try to help you find the truth." His words resonate with a sense of urgency, a plea for understanding that strikes a chord deep within me. Despite the darkness surrounding Melissa, there's a part of me that still clings to the hope of redemption, of finding some semblance of truth amidst the chaos. "Do you know where she might be now?" I ask, clutching at any potential lead. Victor shakes his head, regret etched into his features. "I'm sorry, I don't. But I heard she was seen meeting with some shady people around the docks recently. Might be worth checking out." The information feels like a lifeline, a thread to follow in the tangled web that Melissa has woven. I nod, determination hardening within me. "Thank you," I say, the weight of gratitude mingling with the burden of uncertainty. "For everything." Victor nods, a ghost of a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Be careful, Daniel. You're dealing with forces you might not fully understand." With that, he turns and disappears back into the shadows, leaving me standing on the pier with Mark by my side. "Well, that was intense," Mark mutters, breaking the silence that follows Victor's departure. I nod, my mind racing with possibilities and fears. "We need to go to the docks. See if we can find any trace of her." The docks are a labyrinth of warehouses and shipping containers, each casting long shadows that dance in the dim light. The air smells of salt and diesel, a pungent reminder of the proximity to the sea. Mark and I navigate the maze of crates, our footsteps echoing eerily in the stillness. The place seems deserted, a forgotten corner of the city where secrets can easily be buried. As we move deeper into the docks, a low voice catches our attention. It's coming from around a corner, hushed and urgent. We exchange a glance, curiosity and caution propelling us forward. Peeking around the corner, we spot a group of men huddled together, their faces obscured by the shadows. One of them is holding a briefcase, the other gesturing animatedly as if negotiating a deal. "Do you think that's them?" Mark whispers, his voice barely audible. I squint, trying to make out any identifying features. "Could be. We should get closer." We inch forward, careful to stay hidden in the shadows. My heart is pounding in my chest, adrenaline coursing through my veins. As we get closer, I can make out snippets of their conversation. "The shipment is delayed. We need it by tomorrow. We have to move fast. The cops are getting too close." Their words send a shiver down my spine. Whatever they're involved in, it's clearly illegal and dangerous. Suddenly, one of the men glances in our direction, his eyes narrowing. I freeze, praying the darkness conceals us enough to avoid detection. "Did you hear that?" he asks, suspicion lacing his tone. I hold my breath, willing myself to remain still and silent. "Probably just rats," another man replies dismissively. The tension eases slightly, but my instincts scream that we need to leave before we're discovered. I motion to Mark, and we slowly back away, careful not to make any noise that might alert them to our presence. Once we're a safe distance away, we quicken our pace, the urgency of our escape fueling our steps. "That was close," Mark says, his voice tinged with relief. "Too close," I agree, my mind racing with possibilities. But at least we know Melissa might be tied up with something serious. As we make our way back to the car, I can't shake the feeling that we're onto something significant, something that might finally shed light on the mystery surrounding Melissa. But I also know that the path ahead is fraught with danger, and the truth we seek might be more than we're prepared to handle. Back at home, exhaustion tugs at my limbs, but my mind is too restless to allow for sleep. Mark and I go over the night's events, trying to piece together the puzzle that has become my life. "What's our next move?" Mark asks, breaking the silence that has settled over the room. I rub my temples, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on me. "We need more information. Someone must know more about what's going on at the docks." Mark nods, a spark of determination lighting his eyes. "I'll reach out to some contacts. See if anyone's heard anything." "Thanks, Mark," I say, gratitude mingling with the exhaustion that clings to me like a shroud. "I don't know what I'd do without you." He offers a reassuring smile, his presence a balm to the chaos swirling around me. "We'll get through this, Daniel. One way or another." As Mark heads out, leaving me alone with my thoughts, I feel the enormity of the situation settle over me like a heavy fog. The answers I seek are tantalizingly close, but the path to them is fraught with uncertainty and peril. Each step forward feels like a dance with danger, a delicate balance between seeking truth and protecting what remains of my shattered life. And as the night wears on, I can't shake the feeling that the real confrontation is yet to come, that the shadows lurking at the edges of my world are preparing to strike with a vengeance. But even in the face of such uncertainty, one thing remains clear: I won't rest until I uncover the truth about Melissa, no matter how deep the darkness goes. The morning dawns gray and uninviting, the sky churning with clouds that mirror the turmoil within me. I wake with a sense of urgency, a need to confront the truth that has been eluding me. As I stand by the window, staring out at the rain-soaked street, a plan begins to take shape in my mind. Mark arrives a short while later, his presence a welcome source of strength in the storm of uncertainty. He's brought coffee and a determined look that tells me he's as invested in finding answers as I am. "Any leads?" he asks, handing me a steaming cup. I nod, taking a sip of the bitter liquid. "I think I know where to find Melissa. Victor mentioned the docks, and I have a feeling she might be hiding there. But we need to be careful. Those guys we saw last night, they're dangerous." Mark nods, his expression resolute. "I'm with you, whatever it takes." We head out into the rain, the sound of our footsteps echoing off the wet pavement. The city feels different this morning, as if holding its breath in anticipation of what's to come. As we drive toward the docks, my mind races with possibilities. Every moment with Melissa, every secret she kept, every lie she told, they all seem to point to this moment. I can't shake the feeling that whatever we find today will change everything. The docks are as deserted as before, the only sound the distant rumble of thunder and the soft patter of rain on metal. We park a few blocks away, deciding to approach on foot to avoid drawing attention. As we make our way through the maze of containers, my heart pounds in my chest, each step bringing me closer to the truth, and to Melissa. I try to prepare myself for what I might find, but the uncertainty gnaws at me, a constant reminder of how little I truly know. We reach the area where we saw the men last night, and my pulse quickens as I spot a light in one of the warehouses. It flickers like a beacon, drawing us in with the promise of answers. "This is it," I whisper to Mark, nodding toward the building. We approach cautiously, the rain masking our footsteps as we move toward the entrance. The door is slightly ajar, and I push it open, peering inside. The warehouse is vast, filled with shadows and the lingering scent of oil and salt. In the center of the room, a group of people is gathered around a table, their faces obscured by the dim light. And there she is, Melissa, standing at the head of the group, her expression one of fierce determination. My heart lurches at the sight of her, a mix of anger and longing surging within me. "Melissa!" I call out, my voice echoing off the walls. She turns, her eyes widening in shock as she spots me. For a moment, the mask slips, and I see a flicker of fear in her gaze. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" she demands, her voice sharp and unyielding. "I could ask you the same thing," I reply, stepping forward. "What's going on, Melissa? What are you involved in?" She hesitates, glancing around at the others as if weighing her options. Finally, she sighs, a heavy sound that seems to deflate her. "You weren't supposed to find out," she says, her voice tinged with regret. "But I suppose it doesn't matter now." "Find out what?" I press, desperation creeping into my tone. "About the murders. About your affairs." She flinches at the word, but there's no denial in her eyes. Instead, she straightens, a resolve settling over her like a shroud. "Yes, about all of it," she admits. "I've been working with these people for months, Daniel. It started as a way to make money, to get out of the life I felt trapped in. But it spiraled out of control. And the murders?" Mark interjects, his voice hard. Were you involved?" Melissa's gaze shifts, and I see the conflict in her eyes, the war between truth and lies. "I didn't kill anyone," she says finally. "But I knew about it. I knew what they were doing, and I didn't stop it." The confession hangs in the air, a bitter truth that settles like ash in my chest. I feel a surge of anger, a betrayal that cuts deeper than any blade. "You used me," I say, my voice shaking with emotion. "You used our marriage as a cover for this nightmare." Melissa's eyes meet mine, and there's a flicker of something, remorse, perhaps, or the ghost of the love we once shared. "I didn't want you to get hurt, Daniel. I thought I could keep it separate, keep you safe." "But you didn't," I reply, the words tasting like poison. "You dragged me into this mess, and now I'm paying the price for your lies." She opens her mouth to speak, but before she can respond, the sound of approaching footsteps interrupts us. The group around the table stiffens, and I sense the shift in the air, the sudden tension that signals danger. "Looks like we have company," one of the men says, his voice low and dangerous. A moment later, a group of armed men bursts into the warehouse, their weapons drawn and eyes cold as ice. They're the same men we saw last night, and I realize with a jolt that they're not here to negotiate. "Melissa, you double-crossing bitch," the leader snarls, his gaze locked on her. "Thought you could sell us out, did you?" Panic flares in Melissa's eyes, and she takes a step back, her hands raised in a gesture of surrender. "I didn't, I swear I didn't," she pleads, desperation coloring her voice. The man laughs, a harsh, mirthless sound that chills me to the bone. "Too late for that. You've been a thorn in our side for too long, and now it's time to clean up the mess." My heart races as I realize the danger we're in. Mark and I are caught in the crossfire, innocent bystanders in a deadly game we barely understand. "Run!" Melissa shouts, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Get out of here!" The command jolts me into action, and Mark and I turn, sprinting for the exit as the room erupts into violence. The sound of gunfire echoes behind us, and I hear Melissa cry out, a sound that cuts through me like a knife. We burst through the door, the rain hammering down on us as we race through the docks, the sound of pursuit hot on our heels. My mind is a blur, a whirlwind of fear and adrenaline propelling me forward. "Over here!" Mark shouts, leading the way toward a narrow alley between two containers. We dive into the alley, hearts pounding, breaths ragged as we huddle in the shadows, praying we won't be found. The footsteps grow louder, a relentless march of impending doom. My mind races, calculating our options, searching for a way out. Mark gestures toward a fire escape on a nearby building, and we make a break for it, scrambling up the metal rungs with desperation-fueled speed. We reach the rooftop, the city spread out before us like a sprawling maze. The rain is relentless, a curtain of water that obscures our vision and muffles our footsteps. "What now?" I gasp, clutching a railing as I struggle to catch my breath. Mark scans the horizon, his eyes alight with determination. "We need to get to the authorities. Tell them everything we know." "But what about Melissa?" I ask, the words slipping out before I can stop them. Mark hesitates, and I see the conflict in his eyes, the same battle raging within me. "She made her choice, Daniel. We have to look out for ourselves now." The truth of his words is a bitter pill to swallow, but I nod, knowing he's right. Melissa has made her bed, and now she must lie in it. Together, we make our way across the rooftops, navigating the treacherous terrain with a single-minded focus on survival. The city is a blur below us, a landscape of shadows and danger that offers no solace, only the promise of escape. As we reach the edge of the building, I pause, glancing back toward the docks. I can't see them from here, but I know the chaos we've left behind is far from over. Melissa's face lingers in my mind, a haunting reminder of the woman I once loved, the woman who betrayed me. I turn away, swallowing the bitterness that rises in my throat. There's no going back now, no redemption to be found in the wreckage of our shattered lives. As we make our way down the fire escape and back onto solid ground, I feel the weight of finality settle over me, a closing chapter in a story that has twisted and turned in ways I never imagined. We arrive at the police station, drenched and weary, but determined to set things right. The officers listen to our story, their faces a mixture of disbelief and resolve as they realize the gravity of the situation. In the days that follow, the truth comes to light: Melissa's involvement with a criminal syndicate, her role in the murders, the deception that wove its way through our lives like a cancer. The media frenzy reaches a fever pitch, but I remain on the sidelines, a spectator in a tragedy I once called my own. Melissa is arrested, her trial a spectacle that captivates the nation. She pleads guilty, her expression one of resignation as the verdict is handed down. As the judge pronounces her sentence, I feel a sense of closure, an ending to a chapter one never wished to write, but one that has irrevocably shaped who I am. Mark and I part ways, each of us scarred by the ordeal but determined to move forward. He returns to his life, a sense of purpose driving him to rebuild what was lost. And I find myself standing at the edge of a new beginning, the world stretched out before me like a blank canvas waiting to be filled. The deception is revealed, the truth laid bare for all to see. And as I step into the unknown, I know that I carry the weight of betrayal with me, but also the promise of a future unburdened by lies. As the days turn into weeks, I find solace in the simple things, a sunrise, a quiet moment, the laughter of friends who have stood by me through it all. The memory of Melissa lingers like a shadow, a reminder of the darkness that once threatened to consume me. But I am stronger now, forged in the fires of betrayal and loss, and ready to face whatever comes next. In the end, the truth has set me free. And though the scars remain, I walk forward with the knowledge that I have emerged from the storm, forever changed, but unbroken.